What's going on, guys? It's David back at it here for another video today. And in today's video, I want to talk about something that was brought to my attention after, last night I was kind of watching some Star Wars videos just for fun. Huge Star Wars fan. I was actually watching the new, came out a couple months ago actually, but late in the game, haven't, kept up with Star Wars or any much as of late. So I watched a trailer for Star Wars Episode 9. What was the name again? The Rise of Skywalker. So whether you're a Star Wars fan or not, I have one thing that came to my mind when I was just watching a trailer for it. Like one of the main characters, Rey, which I'm not gonna go too deep into Star Wars here, but Rey, who's like this, supposed to be this hero, right, in this Star Wars trilogy or saga, whatever you want to call it. Rey is, I guess, is a hero, supposed to be a Jedi, which a Jedi in Star Wars is basically like the good guys, on this. Like if you ever watch something like the Avengers or any superhero movie, they're the good guys. So Rey's one of the good guys. That's what a Jedi is. So she discovers that she's not exactly a Jedi, but she has the powers of a Jedi. And Jedis in Star Wars, they play with lightsabers, which are basically like, I'm not describing like sticks. Basically, it's their weapon. It's like their version of swords, but with a laser beam, basically, on a stick. Terrible. If you're a Star Wars fan watching this, you're probably gonna hate me for describing it this way. Don't know how to. I mean, you probably have watched Star Wars. I'm just assuming you haven't. So, in the case you haven't, of course, they're good at using lightsabers. They're strong with the Force, and the Force in Star Wars is basically kind of like, it's kind of like your gut feeling. It's kind of like being in tune with like nature and like your surroundings, your environment, having supernatural powers, like being able to choke someone with your hand using force, like applying physical force with your hand, or applying lightning, like people on the dark side or the evil side, you want to call it in this case. In Star Wars, they can do stuff like that, even the good side, which is the Jedi's. So yeah, the thing about Rey though, because Rey's like, because Star Wars has 9 different movies, well 8 so far, 9 at the end of this year. First 6 movies was about like Darth Vader, which you probably heard about. If you haven't, of course, he's kind of a dynamic character who in the first half of the first 3 movies of Star Wars was the protagonist. He was the chosen one, the hero. And ironically, he ends up being the chosen one in the end when you get to the end of the 6th movie. But between that, he becomes the evil guy. He turns evil, goes to the dark side in the third episode, you want to call it. And so, like, that, the process of him transforming, a very dynamic thing. And going back to Rey on here, like, you notice a lot of Jedi, a lot of even the evil dark side. The dark side, the Jedi equivalent is the Sith Lords. So you have Sith Lords, dark side, bad guys, and then you have Jedi, good side, light side, whatever you want to call it, right? So the thing about Rey, and the issue I guess a lot of people had at Rey, not just me, I guess, or notice from watching the recent Star Wars movies after Episode 6, was that Rey was able to use the Force, use a lightsaber, and all that without much training whatsoever. She, for whatever reason, she instinctively knew it already. But in Star Wars, if you're a diehard Star Wars fan, you know that it takes years and years of intense training to even get to that point. And so the lesson from that, for you and me, is that whatever you see out there in the movies, on TV, in the media, in society, whatever you see that's you think is real, oftentimes, I don't know, it can be real, but a lot of times it's not as real as you think it is, or it's not as intense, or it's not as serious or real as it's made to seem, because it's very deceptive. So Rey, like, I guess the main point of me talking about Rey is that she didn't seem to have to undergo any training, no process of actually rigorous process, and that's like misrepresentative of like any anyone who has big dreams, anyone who has a goal in life, anyone who wants to do anything, because that's not reality. Very rarely will you have someone who just steps in and becomes the best of whatever that thing is that they're doing. You're not going to have LeBron James in basketball. He didn't just become, he's super talented, but he didn't just become good just because he was talented overnight. Starting a business, you're not going to make $1 million or $1 billion overnight. You're not. You're not going to be the best business person when you first start out. When you're working out, you're not going to lift the heaviest weight. You're not going to have the best looking body when you start. You're not overnight, at least. When you try to learn a new skill or learn a new talent, you learn how to cook, anything, learn a new subject, you're never going to be an expert right off the bat. You never will. And I'm not saying you can't, there's no shortcuts, or you can't do things quicker, faster, more efficiently, and get mentors, teachers, and people to help you to make the process of getting there faster. Well, with Rey, like, no one taught her much. I mean, although one of the Jedis in the movies, known as Luke Skywalker, he did help her, learn a little bit about the Force and becoming ways of the Jedi by training her using a lightsaber, all that stuff. But before that, she was still able to use a lot of the powers of any Jedi had, or even Sith Lord had. So I guess the problem I have with that, and many people as well, not just from a Star Wars perspective, is that you can't expect to have things that easy. Like, I'm not saying things can't be easy in anything, but everything's going to require a little bit of effort and some work. It's not just suddenly you wake up and you have these magical powers, in which Hollywood and movies portray these things to be supernatural, and these things that, really change our expectations of, set false expectations of how fast we can accomplish things, or how we can be something without doing anything. Like, you can't just be somebody without doing any effort, or putting effort in and doing any work. You can't be. It's fucking impossible. It's bullshit. I said it's bullshit, man. This is bullshit, man. This is bullshit. So I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so this is not a knock against Star Wars, but besides me thinking the last movies written by Disney are not really written that well in terms of the story plot, it's also the unrealistic expectation that you can just become anything you want without putting any work or effort to it, just like that, overnight. Like, every other Jedi, every other Sith Lord had to put in a lot of effort and training and work to get where they got. Even the bad guys, good guys, all of them did. So for Rey to just suddenly just be able to, have all these powers and overpower people who've been training for years, it's ridiculous. It's unrealistic. So I'm not trying to rant, not to rant too much. I hope, you got some value out of this video. That was my lesson for the day. So no matter what you do, things won't necessarily be super hard or super easy. Usually in between, probably. There's always a process to get to where you want to go. Any goal, anything you want in this life. So don't let Hollywood, don't let, someone tell you that you can just get something for doing nothing. So I'll see you in the next video.